4 planets have been revealed. Pantheon Prime, Styx, Athena, and Pantheon Secundus. Make sure you stay tuned as 8 factions battle for supremacy of the Pantheon sector.
Hello, and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report. The series of the Coven continues, and this time I'm playing Brandon, up here at Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and he has brought his 1,500 points worth of Orks against my Coven, DarkEldar, led by Uri and Rakath. We are playing Big Guns Never Tire and Crusade Dawn of War. That's right, Dawn of War deployment. So we have 20 shooter boys with a power claw knob in this building, where there's an objective down there on the ground floor. We have a warp head to try and get lots of wars. We have 11 looters at the bottom there. 6 killer cans with Grotzukas, with a 20-man shooter boy squad with a big mech with a custom force field, and another 20-man shooter boy squad. And in reserve, we have 3 Dakka jets loaded with 3 twin-link super shooters. They're all fighter aces, and they all have red paint jobs. And on the DarkEldar side, we have the 2 Taloses with twin-link liquefied guns. 10 warriors with a lance blaster in that building. We have Urian and his grotesques in that raider. A Venom with warriors right beside it. The 10 Rex. The 10 witches and 5 witches. And of course, 5 Scourge hiding away behind the huge Necron monolith. I'm going to be rolling for my drugs, and my warlord trait is legendary fighter. His warlord trait is +1 dice to running to all units within 12, which is going to be kind of good for those killer cans. And we'll be back after... Oh wait, the Orcs will try to seize the initiative. On camera, he is grabbing a dice as we speak. And at this very moment, he will roll. And will successfully steal the initiative. Of course it is Night Fight, turn 1. And we'll be right back after this. The Orcs have advanced into the ruins, making sure to put a lot of pressure on this open ground here where most of the objectives lie. We have 1 objective in this building under there. We have 1 objective by the big mountain in the middle. And we have 1 objective in the base of that building that's the sabotage objective. And 1 objective in this building at the base where the looters are. The warp head rolled, here we go. So he tried to deep strike in that area back there, scattered all the way up into the ruins, and lost 1 orc due to dangerous terrain. Shooting! So the looters fire into the warriors in the building, and cover saves, thanks to Night Fight, saw them all survive. All the rest of the army moved and ran, getting into position and range, so when the Dakka jets come in, he can start putting pressure on the DarkEldar line. We moved up to the objective near the mountain, and it is a Skyfire Nexus. The DarkEldar maneuvered around, moved up. Lance and blaster shooting saw 1 killer can go down as everything else missed. And splinter cannon fire was very effective, killing 8 out of 11 looters and forcing the others to fall back out of the building. Now we're moving on to Orc turn 2, and the Dakka jets will be coming in hot. 2 Dakka jets zoomed in, and the warp head re-rolled his power to war, giving them double twin-link shots, which took out the raider, and and subsequent shooting saw 6 of the witches dead. They are now pinned around that Skyfire Nexus. And the Talos also suffered a hideous death after that Dakka jet put 9 wounds on it, and he failed his saves. We're moving on to... Oh, he also got first blood for that, because the looters failed to run off the board. And we're moving on to DarkEldar, turn 2. Witches tried to snapshoot a Haywire grenade, but failed to do anything to that flyer. The warriors were able to extend out, get into activate the Skyfire Nexus, and shoot 2 lance weapons into that who evaded and did 1 glance, but so now his effectiveness has been reduced. The Scourge that I forgot about last turn finally jumped out and tried to put some damage on the 2 killer cans that were walking up the middle, together with a lance and a blaster. I failed to do any damage, and Uri and Rakath boosted up the flank, while the 5-man witch unit charged in, killed a killer can, and lost 1 of their numbers to charging, while the Talos failed his charge against the other unit of killer cans. The Venoms fired into the big 20-man unit and succeeded in killing 2 of their number. Both Dakka Jets being unable to draw fire to enemy units because of A, evasion, or B, good placement on my part, had to fly off the table, but now all 3 Dakka Jets are going to come in next turn. This unit with the warp head moved up and shot 2 Scourge from the unit. The kill cannons, the Grotzukas from those 2 cans, shot into the witches near the objective. They went to ground and soaked up 6 wounds, but the Hecatrix died, but they held and they're to ground. The big orc mob with the big mech charged into the witches that had charged the cans. There was 4 witches left. The witches took out another can before getting swamped in enemy attacks, and the orcs have now consolidated, while the orcs in the ruin opened fire into the raider with Uri and Rakath, putting 1 hull point on the unit. And now we're moving on to DarkEldar, turn 4. Will the DarkEldar be able to do enough damage before the support of the Dakka Jets arrives? We shall see. Critical turn for the DarkEldar. The Rex moved out and engaged the unit with the Warlord, taking them all out with a sweeping advance after killing a lot with their liquefy guns. The Talos ran into the lone Killican survivor after the other one was taken out with some precision lance fire, and then was able to flip him over. Uri and Rakath and the Grotesques ran into the other unit in the building and cleared them off that objective, while Urian challenged the Nob and won the challenge in order to gain another victory point. The unit back here moved out to find out that this objective is sabotaged as well. And the Venom over here took 7 of the Orcs in that unit out with splinter cannon fire. Now we're going on to Orc turn 5, and all 3 Dakka Jets are coming back on the board. All 3 Dakka Jets moved on. The Orcs called their war and shot the hell out of all the Grotesques. The only one left alive was Urian Rakath, who was able to successfully pass cover saves and feel no pains to stay alive. So him alone has now cheated death, and he is alive to go on to the next turn. The Killican shot his Grotzuka into the Rex, and they lost 3 of their number. And this unit of Orcs has fired into these witches and killed 1 of their number. They are gone to ground, but they're not fleeing. Now moving on to DarkEldar. Turn 4. Consolidated hold on objectives. Urian Rakath unleashed his Casket of Flensing with a whooping 11 strength 6 attacks, putting 2 hull points onto this Dakka Jet that evaded and succeeded in stopping it from shooting. Well, snap shooting next turn. In other shooting news, everything else missed the other flyers and the lone Killican. And now we're moving on to Orc turn 5. The Warp Head and unit has also taken a lot of casualties from Venom fire, failing a lot of saves, and they have fallen back. And 1 flyer had to boost up. He's on top of there, and because he couldn't get anywhere useful. The Warp Head and units rallied and fired into the Scourge, killing 2 of the Scourge, but they are fine. Well, one's alive, and he didn't run away. The 2 other Dakka Jets moved up and wiped out the 5-man warrior unit that had gone to ground near that objective. And now... Oh, and the Killican in the back has charged Urian, who is fearless, of course. So Urian is refusing to run away from that combat, which means that they are stuck, and I'm going to have to try and help them with some sort of support. And now we're moving on to DarkEldar, turn 5. All firing into this Dakka Jet puts another hull point on it from the Skyfire Nexus Warriors. Everything else missed. The Talos moved up and tried to charge into the Killican that's fighting Urian Rakath and failed his difficult train test, although Urian Rakath made 3 clones, protecting himself from the wrath of the Strength 10 Power Claw. It's the end of turn 5, and we're going to roll to see if the game continues. And it does. The Dakka Jet moved over, blew a Venom out of the sky. In retaliation, I fired and did 1 hull point and lock velocity on that flyer. In combat, the Talos finally came in to help Urian Rakath and put 1 glancing hit on the Killican to kill it. They consolidated. The Talos is actually in the bottom floor, but is beside an objective that is right down there, and Urian Rakath is in the ruin, supported by the Rex. And now we're rolling to see if there is a turn 7. Nope. it is done. And the game is done. Thanks a lot for the game. Absolutely, that was fun. DarkEldar victory against the warpdakka jet list of awesome. Thanks all for watching. We'll be back at the Tactical Corner. Stay tuned.
Welcome to another Tactical Corner. Okay, let's begin. This one is going to be very tactical. Deployed very centrally, knowing that the Dakka jets were going to be quite a nuisance. Now, his list was very competitive, and the Dakka jets themselves were the biggest thing. The warp head plus the Dakka jets, great combination. Now, the Orks didn't plan for a few things to happen, like having stuff go onto one flank, so I was able to focus on my key targets early on in the game. Now, he moved up, and I was able to pounce on it. I needed to focus fire and kill as much as I could. Now, when the Dakka jets came on, they started putting a lot of pressure on my lines, but I was able to, effectively go to ground and take cover saves and mitigate a lot of the damage. Now, with maneuvering, I was able to force the Dakka jets to, because remember, they have to pivot and then move a minimum of 18 inches, so I was able to kind of measure that out, put myself into a position where they couldn't, which then led to a great turn for me on turn 4, and I was able to capitalize it by killing a lot of the Ork army. Now, Urien surviving the triple Dakka jet threat was fantastic. I rolled very, very hot for that. And it also meant that he wasn't focusing on my scoring units and things that can actually capture objectives. And because of my mobility, I was able to get into positions that didn't allow the Dakka jets to capitalize on it, while I was able to wipe out the entirety of the army. All in all, it was a very fun game and a very trying one for my army. Thanks for watching.